Hello, this is Danny Sanderson, and I'm interviewing Fireblade. So, how are you guys doing?
Well, all right.
Yeah, great. Ramming and ready to go.
Oh, not too bad.
Yeah. So, obviously, first question is: have you got a new addition to the band? In Tom, how's he fitting into the band?
Well, we don't know. It's his first gig tonight. He seems all right. But it could all go tits up tonight. We don't know. No, he's doing all right. He's doing really good. We're really impressed with him in rehearsals and that.
He makes enough noise at rehearsals, like. So.
Yeah, it just seemed to fit in pretty well, and we'll just see how it goes tonight, really.
Got high expectations.
Yeah, pressure's on.
I mean, obviously, I've noticed from doing research that you're working on your first new batch of material since 2008. So what can we expect from sort of music-wise? What can you expect?
Well, it's not really new. It's just that we haven't had a chance to play it live because of line-up constrictions and stuff like that. And but it is. I mean, like we're in process of putting pre-production for the album, and it's all basically the same stuff from promo. A lot of it's been rewrote and changed, but we've got new additions in set and that. We've got time restrictions tonight, so we've had to cut the set down a little bit. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
but the musical style is kind of always what we wanted to achieve. It's like basically Gothenburg, with a blackened version of Gothenburg with death metal, Gothenburg's Swedish melodic death metal mixed with black metal and some early thrash influences.
I mean, obviously you kind of just summed up your sound, but if you had to sort of describe in terms of bands the type of music that you play, if you had to sort of like compare it to different bands, who would you compare it to?
Well, that's we've always had original influences that come from Motorhead and Venom and stuff like that. Slayer, very like Black, a lot of Morbid Angel, early Morbid Angel, but there's like Dissection, early In Flames, Ceremonial Law, all Scandos, so like melodic death metal from the early 90s and that, you know what I mean, basically.
Sounds great, yeah. I mean, obviously, I was sort of in terms of like I said, you were working on new material. You've worked on demos at the moment. I've noticed you've done demo. What is it going to be for? Is it going to be a EP or an album?
There's an album. There's going to be an album this year. Definitely a 10-track album.
Fireblade.
Yeah, it's called Trailblazer, and it should be recorded with round about summer for release, like autumn, something like that.
Yeah. Has there been any change from Demonic? From the time you did Demonic Resurrection, you've
Renaissance.
Renaissance.
What do you mean?
Has there been any stylistic change or?
Not really. No. It was straight to his guns. Really, that's what we've always wanted to play. There'll just be better versions of them songs and better recordings. And obviously, we've got different musicians involved now, so they've all got their own input. So. The structures are all there. The songs we've got enough material for 5 albums.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've been pretty busy. We've seen like we've been inactive, but all those lyrics are quite. That's what I'm looking for. Conceptual.
Yeah.
So they all follow on. They all belong to the same storyline, really.
Awesome. So it's a concept.
All of it is a concept. Until we get to the third album, when we do a trilogy, when it's going to be proper conceptual three trilogy albums.
Yeah. So what's the main concept of the music you're writing?
Basically, it's all based on ancient Sumerian culture, alien technology in humanity, and the fact that we came from the stars. And
yeah. That's a very cool idea. I mean, obviously, the only other band from around here that I can think of that does that kind of thing is Goat Christ from Wakefield. And so, in terms of like Sumerian mythology, what do you think that kind of adds to your music? How does that leak into your music?
Well, for start, it sings in Sumerian.
Yeah.
And all lyrics are based on ancient scriptures and Necronomicon, 7th edition of Necronomicon. So it's
not easy to ask for a new singer, asking him to sing in Sumerian.
You've got to learn another language before he learns lyrics.
I don't know. I mean, that's kind of an interesting thing for somebody who's starting out a band, like to sort of like you got to have a grasp of the language before you can even.
Don't get me wrong, they're not, it's not all in Sumerian, but there is quite large sections.
There are sections here and there, aren't there? Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the main reasons. He loved the lyrics when he first read them, didn't you?
Yeah, they're really good. They're a lot better than, a lot of bands tend to do this kind of vague, I hate the world sort of thing, and it was good to see something that was based on something in history and a bit of fantasy and a bit of
Fantasy.
well,
Realist.
you know what I mean? That kind of elaborate way of telling it, and that it was just really interesting to me. So it made learning the lyrics a lot more entertaining. And I've only been in the band since late October, so that's been my main job so far, just learning everything and getting a handle on the original material.
Yeah. So what was it initially with Sumerian mythology that kind of like drew you to sort of like incorporating that into music? Was it kind of just previous interest, or was it just something else?
Yeah. Obviously, it's been around since my interest. I mean, Morbid Angel and Action have been sung about similar things to it, but they've never taken it quite as far as what we've done.
Yeah.
We've taken it to extremes, really. We've really dug really deep into it. You know what I mean? It's kind, and we've made sure we've backed it up with sort of like not evidence as such, because you can, but we've backed it up with sort of like scholarship values, theories and stuff, and there is quite a lot of it's a mythology that's different to other mythologies. That's what drew me to it. Plus my cat would never let me live it down because he's called Marduk, so just kill me if I didn't know. Didn't sing about him.
In terms of black metal, obviously Marduk. So
yeah.
Well, obviously, one of the things that I've wanted to ask is, obviously, I mentioned Goat Christ earlier in the interview, and there's a lot of, in terms of black metal, black metal, especially in black and death metal, is kind of making a resurgence in this country, and obviously quite a few of the bands, like you got like Valafar and Safmel, Goat Christ, stuff like that come from round West Yorkshire. So is there anything in particular you think about West Yorkshire that kind of draws people to that kind of music, or?
It's kind of like, I originally came through hardcore punk scene, like bands like Discharge and Exploit and stuff like that, and I progressed to metal through the thrash scene, and I think it's the same thing again. It's just people they've got nothing. We're up north, a set of wankers. Southerners don't give a toss about us, you know what I mean? So we get driven through adversity more than anything, and it's dark, depressing times at the moment. The world's fucked, to be quite honest, and people are just showing it in any way they can now, artistically or musically, whatever. So they bring it to the fore, and because we've got such dark heritage around these parts, it's coming out in black and death metal or whatever. It used to be doom metal. I was in a doom metal band before. Solstice we did quite well, you know what I mean? So, but my heart's always been in more extreme stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, round here, it's more. There's a lot of great bands going on, but they never seem to get picked up or noticed by mainstream media. So, do you kind of think that maybe? Do you think that sort of West Yorkshire area is overlooked in that regard, or?
Possibly, yeah.
The Northern Home, most likely. Yeah.
I think it's an hard one, really. I mean, it's because we're not prepared to move to London just to sell our trade, you know what I mean? As attitude has always been, if you like us, if you'll come and see us, you'll dig us out and find us, you know what I mean? But, having said that, we're not saying we are prepared to play shows down south and all over, whatever. It's just we're not getting the opportunity at the moment, that's all.
Yeah.
But we will do.
Before we had line-up difficulties, we were kind of on our way up, weren't we? Really?
Yeah,
we're getting offered quite a lot of things all around the country, really.
We're getting good reviews. We're getting on a lot of grindhouse, which seem to have disappeared now. Terrorise the grindhouse gigs, but we're doing quite well in them. And then we had some line-up difficulties, so we had to come back. But I think this line-up's stronger than anyone we've ever had.
Heavier and stronger and everything, I think.
Musically better and all.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of something. I find it strange that it is always kind of overlooked, because obviously we've got Peaceful Records up here, Paradise Lost and My Dying Bride and Acid Rain, bands like that have come from around here. So do you think there's any kind of particular reason why people kind of overlook sort of West Yorkshire when it comes to?
Maybe they think that grass is greener at the other side. They look for overseas bands. They think they're being more innovative. What's the word I'm looking? Innovative. Where's the word?
Innovative.
That's the one. Nailed it. But it's that really. Basically, I think they can't be any good. They're local. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although MDB got signed to peaceful, and so did Paradise Lost originally, but there were different times, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nowadays it's different.
Balsaga as well.
Balsaga, yeah, I've known Biden and Guide. We used to tour with them years ago when we were in Solstice, like. So, but the thing is that, like, because I've been out of the game for so long due to various reasons, ill health and stuff, and line-up problems, I've kind of lost a lot of my contacts. I'm just trying to rebuild bridges, you know what I mean, and get involved with people, you know what I mean, again. It's coming together. So.
That's great to hear. In terms of like upcoming shows, what have you got coming up?
Got nothing after this. We're open to offers.
Yeah, you're open to offers.
Yeah,
so.
we just wanted to like.
So we're just planning to kind of start thinking.
Warm it up, and I mean, he needs to learn rest at set. Really, we've only got an half-hour set tonight, so we need to push it on and get some recordings done and get ourselves.
So is this kind of like more or less a comeback sort of show?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So it's kind of like.
Just the start of
We're back. Kind of deal, but it's like it's just easing him in, really. You know, we don't want.
Don't want to jump in at deep. And
No, we don't want to put too much pressure on his shoulders at first. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's I thought it'd be a really good one to do. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's a bit of a mixed bill, but it's ended up being a bit more metal than what I thought it was going to be originally. You know?
Yeah.
We would have stood out like a Southern before, but the original lineup, but it seems a bit. It's bizarre really because the bands are playing tonight, World Chaos. I've known Kozak, guitarist singer from them, since 1985. When he first came over from Italy in his thrash band Lord Crucifier, and we give him their first rehearsal when my old punk band's Criminal Justice. We give them their first gig in UK when thrash metal were looked down on in UK. We're on punks are into it, and anybody tells you anything different, they're lying. And we give them a gig up with my old punk band supporting us at Sunderland Bunker of all places, full of punks, and it went down really well. You know, what I mean, known him for years, and he's ended up tonight playing together again.
Yeah.
So it's mental.
That's great. So it's kind of like a full circle in terms of like bringing sort of like it's kind of like a bridging your past with your future and stuff tonight.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, really good. Plus Iron Rap from Bradford and all.
Yeah,
We're talking to guys at Iron Rap. They know we've got loads of mutual friends. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
really good.
Great. And I guess the final question is obviously, do you have any message for your fans listening to this?
I'm not sure we've got any fans yet. Just get into Fireblade. You might be surprised. You might like us.
No, I can't think of anything. Just come out and see a show because we're ready to deliver.
Well, yeah. Well, check out Fireblade if you get a chance to see him live. Check him out live. So thanks for your time, guys.